What's up everybody, Damon here, and in today's gaming news, the developers of Pokémon just announced an ambitious new game, Nintendo is trying to quiet down rumors about new Switch hardware, and Starfield might let you have sex on a jetpack. Yep, this is your daily fix. Game Freak, the Japanese developer best known for Pokémon, has a new game on the way that isn't Pokémon. Publisher Private Division made the announcement today, describing it as a brand new, ambitious samurai action-adventure game. No trailer was revealed, but we do have this one piece of concept art. And if it's indicative of what the final product will look like, I agree, this does look ambitious for Game Freak. It's currently called Project Bloom. In the art, we see a lone samurai, or possibly ronin, standing in a lush forest before a giant tree with lots of pretty particle effects floating around. Looks much more Ghost of Tsushima than Pokemon. Kota Furushima, director at Game Freak, describes Project Bloom as bold and tonally different from our prior work. Most recently, Game Freak released Pokémon Scarlet and Violet and Pokémon Legends Arceus. Scarlet and Violet infamously launched with terrible performance issues and graphical glitches. We gave it a 6 out of 10. Outside of Pokemon, Game Freak has made mostly smaller games like the RPG Little Town Hero, the puzzle platformer Giga Wrecker, and the solitaire horse racing game Pocket Card Jockey. So, not to be a Damie Downer over here, but Game Freak doesn't have much experience in making big 3D adventure games, and its most recent titles were extremely buggy and broken at launch. I'm not sure how excited we should be for Project Bloom at this point. I think I'll wait until I see some gameplay and we get some hands-on time with it, which might be a while. It's apparently in early development and not expected until 2025 or even 2026. The head of Private Division, Michael Warros, said, "We're ready to help Game Freak unleash their potential, and we're honored to be the first Western publisher to work alongside this exceptionally talented and proven team to bring a bold new IP to market." We're on the verge of summer of gaming and announcement season, so perhaps we'll learn more about Project Bloom soon. Moving on, Nintendo is trying to quiet rumors about its new hardware, whether it's the long-expected Switch Pro or something entirely new. The company has declared that a Switch successor won't be released until April 2024 at the earliest. As reported by Bloomberg, Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa explained this all during an investor's presentation. This comes despite a decline in Switch sales. The console sold close to 18 million units in the last financial year, down from 23 million sold the year before and 28 million the year before that. Nintendo forecasts another drop for the coming year. Furukawa said, "Sustaining the Switch's sales momentum will be difficult in its 7th year. Our goal of selling 15 million units this fiscal year is a bit of a stretch, but we will do our best to bolster demand going into the holiday season so that we can achieve the goal." Rumors of a new console have been circulating for years. They were kicked into high gear recently with the announcements that Nintendo will be returning to the big Gamescom show in Germany this year, and it will host its own in-person event called Nintendo Live this September in Seattle. It's easy to imagine Nintendo is returning to in-person events in a big way because it has new hardware it wants to get into people's hands. We don't know of any big games coming down the pipeline after Zelda except for Pikmin 4 in August. I remain hopeful that new hardware is not far away. Even if it isn't launching until next year, Nintendo could announce it later this summer and provide the first hands-on experiences to start building excitement. In more Nintendo news, Metroid Prime Remastered has sold 1 million copies since it launched in February. Other Switch games like Splatoon 3 and Pokémon Scarlet and Violet have also hit major sales milestones. Splatoon 3 has sold more than 10 million units since launch, while Scarlet and Violet have now passed the 20 million unit milestone. That Pokemon number is a little less than 2019's Sword and Shield, which currently sit at 25.8 million units sold. Scarlet and Violet are still performing well compared to most Switch games, however, as they're currently 7th on the list of best-selling software, behind only Super Mario Odyssey, Sword and Shield, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in first. Splatoon 3 doesn't quite crack the top 10, but comes in 14th place on the list of best-selling first-party games, while Metroid Prime Remastered currently sits in 22nd place. Regardless, both games are part of the million-selling club that only 23 first-party Switch games are a part of. And speaking of sales, Guerrilla Games has revealed that Horizon Forbidden West has sold 8.4 million units so far, and that the franchise overall has sold 32.7 million. Studio director Jan Bart van Beek said millions more around the world have discovered Horizon thanks to PlayStation subscription services and initiatives, including PlayStation Plus and Play at Home. All told, it's a milestone we never imagined possible 20 years ago when we first started making games. Guerrilla has already confirmed that a third main game in the Horizon series is currently in development at the studio, as well as a multiplayer game. The latest new game in the franchise is Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2, and Horizon Forbidden West received that Burning Shores expansion last month. Aloy is keeping busy in other media too, as there's also an upcoming Horizon Netflix series in the works from Umbrella Academy director Steve Blackman. I'm glad to hear Forbidden West ended up doing well. I loved it, but it seemed to be overshadowed by Elden Ring, which launched soon after. This is of course exactly what happened with Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild back in 2017. But it sounds like Horizon is doing a-okay. I still need to play Burning Shores, but I'm wrapping up Jedi Survivor, and Zelda is out in a few days, and oh my god, it's happening again! And finally today, Starfield's ESRB rating has appeared online and confirms it will include drugs, in-game purchases, and, checks notes, jetpack sex. The ESRB has given Starfield an M for mature for blood, strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs, and violence. Many of these classifications are pretty standard for an M-rated game, but the rating summary is filled with some interesting details. A couple of examples of Starfield's suggestive dialogue include life is a sexually transmitted disease, that's 100% fatal, and I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. Okay, we've talked a lot recently about how in the wake of the Redfall disaster, Starfield has to have an amazing launch, but if it has jetpack sex, I think it's going to do just fine. The ESRB summary goes on to describe a fictional drug called Aurora that will be prominent in the game, and states Starfield will feature a section with players' characters working in an illicit drug lab. Aurora can be stolen or purchased from vendors, and using the drug will result in a distortion effect on the screen. Oh, and the words "f*** and bullshit" will appear in the dialogue. Starfield is set to launch on Xbox Series X and S and PC on September 6th, and a Starfield Direct will follow the Xbox Games Showcase on June 11th. And that is your Daily Fix for Tuesday, May 9th. Now that you're caught up on the news, check out our new preview of Diablo 4. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your gaming news, stay tuned to IGN.